Okay, I'm not a professional musician. I make software for a living. However, I've enjoyed making and playing music since I was very young, but I've never had a dedicated space to do that. I have a spare bedroom here that never really gets used, even more so after the pandemic. As you can see behind me, it looks more like a storage room than a bedroom. So I've decided to convert this space into a home music studio. I do have a few constraints though. First, it shouldn't cost that much. And the second thing that I want to make sure is that this new space doubles up as a YouTube studio. But yeah, without wasting any more of your time, I'm going to walk you through the process of converting this space into a music studio. The first thing to do is empty the room. I'm going to dismantle everything and temporarily store it in my hallway. Now that the room is empty, we need to get some paint. For paint, I went with smoke gray color and a bluish tint. That tends to be in the opposite side of the color tones of skin, so that should work well for my YouTube studio backdrop. And I also like darker colors. The next thing to do is prep the room and mask out any areas that I don't want to paint on. And I think at this point we can do a full reveal and I can give you a tour of the space and all the things I have in it. This is the Alesis Command X Mesh Head Electric Drum Set. Wow, that was a mouthful to say. I used to play a little bit of drums when I was really young, but this year I decided to pick it up again and it's been a lot of fun. This is normally $850, but I got it for $450 during last year's Black Friday deal. For anyone who's planning on buying an electric drum kit, I highly recommend spending a little bit extra and going for the mesh kit instead of the rubber ones. Mesh kits are much more responsive and feel like playing real drums. I can either have these produce sound from the spare Edifier speakers I have, or I can just plug in my headphones if I don't want to disturb anybody. The next thing I have here is my 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's sitting on top of an Amazon Basics laptop tray mounted on a VESA stand. This is the thing that drives the whole studio. Every instrument here is connected to this laptop. That way I can get all the sounds directly to my digital audio workstation. Speaking of my digital audio workstation, I've always used Adobe Audition because I already have the Creative Suite subscription for my other YouTube channel and it comes with Audition. But I recently tried Logic Pro X and I really like it. I'm not sure yet if I want to buy it because I'm just a hobby musician and Audition has been working fine. But I do like that Logic has so many built-in functions, especially for creating beats and music in general. Moving on, my desk is a basic table from IKEA. I bought it used for $20 from OfferUp. The speakers here are the KRK Rocket 5 studio monitors. I don't even know how old these are. I bought them used on Craigslist for $150 in 2010. So I've owned them for about 11 years now. And considering that these are 400 brand new and I bought them for 150, I assume that the person before me had owned these for a while too. And they still work fine. If you're looking for great budget studio monitors, I highly recommend these. I see even big artists like Charlie Puth regularly using these. The screen here is a TCL Roku TV. Unlike when I write code or develop software, I don't really need to look at small text for extended periods of time when I'm recording or mixing. So a TV works well and you get good 4K quality for about $150. Not to mention that we love karaoke nights, so this combined with a simple mixer and a set of wireless mics makes for a great karaoke setup. Right under the TV is my audio interface. This is the Scarlett 2i2. This works extremely well and has one of the best mic preamps at the price point. Right in front of the TV is the Arturio Minilab Mark II. This is a great MIDI keyboard. It really helps me lay down some quick beats at the start of a recording. Like I said before, I'm not the best musician, so this also helps me identify keys and scales for songs that I'm trying to record or play. But I don't use this for the actual recording since I have full instruments for that. I got this for $99. In front of the MIDI keyboard is the Razer Black Widow keyboard. I got this keyboard from eBay for $10. It was so cheap because the R key on this keyboard is broken. When I press the R key, it types it 3 or 4 times. But I don't really need to type here and I have remapped every command that uses R to something else, so I never really need to use the R key. Other than that, it's a great keyboard for $10. The mouse is a pretty standard Microsoft mouse. I don't know where I got this from. It's been lying around the house for many years now, so I just repurposed it. The next thing to show here is my microphone. This is the Rode NT1. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone. Typically for live performances, you want to use dynamic microphones because they reject a lot of noise. But for a controlled environment like a studio, you use a condenser microphone because it picks up all the little nuances and the characteristics of your voice. The Rode NT1 is one of the quietest condenser microphones for the price. I bought this for around $250. Moving on the right here are my guitars. I've had most of these for a while now, since guitar is the instrument I've played the longest and the one that I'm decent at. The first one here is an Ibanez Prestige. It's an ash body with a maple fretboard, and I absolutely love the color. The next guitar is one of my favorites. This is the Jackson DK2M, one of the last ones that were actually made in Japan. They stopped making these in Japan since 2006, and now you can either buy entry-level ones that are made in Indonesia that aren't that good, or pay thousands of dollars to the Japanese or American models. So this one's quite special in that regard. The next guitar I have is the ESP KH2. If you know Metallica and know who Kirk Hammett is, this is his signature guitar. I've always loved Metallica, so this is a special guitar for me. I used to have the same one a long time ago that was actually signed by Kirk Hammett. That one guy sold me for really cheap, but I didn't have money in college and I had to sell it to another buyer from Croatia. I really miss that guitar even till today, and I wish I'd never had to sell it. The next one I have is another ESP KH2, but this is with the Ouija paint job. This one is actually a replica and not the real thing. I got it off AliExpress for $150 as a showpiece because the real one is extremely rare and costs around $15,000. It doesn't play well at all, but it looks nice and is a very good showpiece for any Metallica fan. So the next thing is my keyboard. This is a Williams Allegro 3 keyboard. I got it for $199 on sale. Like I said, my goal for 2021 is to learn the piano and the drum, and I think this is a great beginner's keyboard. It is 88 keys and the keys are weighted. You definitely want weighted keys as a beginner so that you can learn how to control the pressure on the keys and produce sounds with different characteristics. Right behind the keyboard is a mixer and a couple of wireless mics. Like I mentioned before, we use this for karaoke. The device on top of the wireless mic receiver is the Line 6 G10 relay that basically lets me play the guitars wirelessly without having to deal with cables. The amp beside that is the Positive Grid Spark amp. It's a great little practice amp, produces amazing sound, and has a cloud library of literally any tone you want. Beside the amp are some cool books about some of my rock guitar heroes and some of the best rock bands, and also special collector's edition vinyl bookcases of Simulation Theory by Muse and Master of Puppets by Metallica. Speaking of Master of Puppets, over here, I've got the original lyrics of Master of Puppets, handwritten by James Hetfield. Right beside it are concert tickets of some of the best concerts I've been to. I go to a lot of concerts and really miss them during the pandemic. Hopefully, we get to go to some concerts pretty soon. If you guys love going to concerts too, please let me know in the comments below which is the best concert you've been to. I've got more concert tickets over there, and rest of the room is basically little bits of things that I like in general. Some of them are related to music, some of them aren't. I just put it here because it adds a little bit of personality. And finally, this little empty space here is where I set up my lights and my camera when I use this room as the YouTube studio. So that is the backdrop you guys see with the shelves and the books. Speaking of backdrop, let's just switch to that view and wrap up this video. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour. For a small space, this works well as a music studio to kind of jam or produce music. And it also doubles up as a YouTube studio, as you can see. So I think it turned out pretty okay. It's not the best space or the fanciest space, but for what it is and the limited amount of space and budget, I think it works great. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. That's it for today. I'll see you around. Cheers.